What's going on, you guys? Welcome on back to the channel. Once again, I'm Brandon, the B in Be Easy Tech. Today we're going to be looking at one of the eBay items that I bought to try to repair, which is this motherboard right here. It's an ASRock B250 Pro 4. And as far as I know, the only thing wrong with this board is it has 1 or 2 bent pins, as you can see right there. But the seller did say that this board is actually untested, not only because they don't test boards with bent pins, but because they didn't have any 6th or 7th gen Intel CPUs to test it with. But other than that, this board looks like it's in fine shape, so once we get the pins bent back, hopefully it'll fire right up for us. Elna's back, and this time she left us a present. Thanks, Elna. And you also left a peel up here, too. I love that. So I'm gonna break out my little magnifying glass and see what we can do about these pins. So if you can see, which I'll circle them in editing so you can see better, but it's those 2 pins right there that are sticking up. Now my board is upside down compared to this chart, but if we look at this chart, we can see the pin that's bent the worst is definitely a VCC pin, which is voltage control, so I better get this right. But at least it's just pushing them back down a tiny bit, though. Honestly, that is way easier than trying to lift one of these things up. Now, this board only cost me 15 bucks. So if I'm not able to get these pins back nice and straight, it's not the end of the world. I'm not really gonna care all that much. But it does look like this won't really be all that difficult. Realistically, all I really need to do is kind of just bend them back enough so that the CPU pressure will take it from there. So yeah, let's do it. Let's use my little pin tool, which is basically a set of little tongs that I broke in half. Alright, so that looks about as good as I'm really gonna get it. I really don't want to push it any more than that and risk breaking these pins. The pads on the CPU are big enough that we should be making contact. Of course, there's also the chance that I did fix the pins, but the board still wasn't working in the first place, so who knows? Like I said, they didn't test it. But luckily for me, I do have a CPU to test it with. Since this board is the same generation as the board that we ended up having to use in the Temu PC, I also have the CPU we ended up having to use in the Temu PC, my i5-7600 I got when I was a broke back in 2018. So I'm gonna go grab a couple things from the Temunator, and we'll test this bad boy. If I remember correctly, the i5-7600 had integrated graphics with the HD 630, I believe. I don't really remember. I would have been using a GPU with it back in the day, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So let's go ahead and just try and see if it's got integrated graphics, because I think it'd be quite fun to see if we can actually do some gaming with just the integrated graphics on a quad-core 7600. All right, here we go. Did I fix it? Huh. So it doesn't even look like it's trying to push a display. So maybe the integrated graphics are set to off or something. So let's try this with a GPU. Okay, we're on DisplayPort. Round 2, here we go. Wonderful. Alright, so we're still getting no picture. I've tried all the usual stuff. You know, I've tried messing around with RAM configurations, clearing the CMOS, tried moving the graphics card down to another slot, tried putting nothing in but a BIOS flash drive, and still nothing here. So, of course, this board has no debug lights. Yay! But they did look like I had them perfectly straight, so this board just might be bad. And the CPU is still ice cold, so yeah, it's definitely the CPU's just not getting full power. Yeah, I got those 2 pins perfectly straight. I've been up and down this socket now with a magnifying glass, and there is just nothing wrong with it. All these pins are totally fine. I bent those pins back so well you can't even tell which ones were bent in the first place. So I'm gonna go ahead and try reseating the CPU one more time. But if that doesn't work, then I'm just gonna guess this board's got a bad capacitor, a bad MOSFET, because the CPU was ice cold. You know, I am in my garage and it's, you know, November now, so it's getting a little chilly. You can tell, like, the thing just was not pulling power at all, so let's give it a shot. And still nothing. Alright, so I really think this board has something wrong with the power delivery to the CPU. You know, whether that be MOSFET, capacitor, resistor, you know, I really don't know. But if that is the case, I only paid $15 for this thing, so it's definitely not, you know, worth my time to sit here and try and diagnose that with a multimeter or something. And this is only a B250 here, so it's worth, what, maybe 40, 45 bucks at most, which when I paid 15 for it, obviously only gives me, you know, 25 bucks minus shipping, because I always offer free shipping when I sell things. So really not worth my time to sit here and try and fix one. I got other videos to make, and, you know, we got some PCs to build. But before I completely give up on it, though, I do want to go ahead. I'm going to swap it out for the B250 that we ended up using in the Temu PC, just to be 100% sure that it's not this crappy power supply here. Because even though this is the one we used in the Temu PC, which was brand new when I bought it, you know, that thing was $25. And a $25 power supply that's claiming to be 750 watts. Yeah, I could see that going bad with only 3 hours of use. I mean, that is as skimp as skimp gets. Because it's definitely not the pins at this point. I mean, I got it as perfect as you can. You can't even tell those pins were bent at all anymore. I am actually quite good at repairing things, believe it or not. Get this little baby boy back on here. Little baby mother boy. I was so glad when I was able to upgrade from this thing. You know, it is MSI. It's not the worst motherboard in the world. It worked just fine for me. I didn't have any problems with it. It's just hideous. Like, Who thought brown was a good color for a motherboard? I mean, it's almost as bad as those old green motherboards. Which, you know, for the nostalgic factor, the green motherboards aren't that bad, but brown? No thanks. Get our CPU back in. Ah, dang it. Forgot to put the bracket on. if this thing boots right up, then obviously that other board does have other problems than just those bent pins. Now, I'm not going to say I'm 100% accurate in saying it's something wrong with the power delivery to the CPU. The reason I think that's the problem is because of the behavior, the way it kind of turned on and turned off and then turned back on again, but still never showed a picture. And when I immediately pulled the cooler off, the CPU and all the MOSFETs and capacitors were still ice cold. All right, so let's see. And so the good old reliable MSI fires right up. So obviously we got a bad board. I can't actually get this one into Windows right now because this hard drive actually has Windows 11 on it, and it's not going to go into Windows because 7th gen Intel isn't compatible with Windows 11. I kind of wanted to see what it would do though, because I've never even tried to run Windows 11 on 7th gen Intel. And when it goes past the BIOS screen, you're just going to get that. It's not even going to find your hard drive or a Windows manager to boot from. I mean, it's going to find your hard drive, it's just not going to find the Windows actual launcher. And like I keep saying, this board only cost me $15, and I really don't plan on actually trying to, you know, break out a multimeter and everything and full-on diagnose this thing and try and fix it. It's just not worth my time. What am I going to make off of it, 20 bucks? So if there's anybody out there that actually wants this board, if you want to pay the shipping, go ahead and go to our website and shoot us a message. I'll send it to you if you want it, because otherwise it's just gonna sit in the closet and rot. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you're entered into a PC giveaway, which is gonna end in about 2 weeks now. I also got some videos coming up where I'm gonna try and fix some broken graphics cards that I got on my little eBay shopping spree as well, which I'm fairly confident that I'm gonna be able to do. So if you don't wanna miss out on that, make sure you subscribe now, and until then, stay safe, take it easy, be easy, and we'll see you next time.